First, I wanted to address the issue of the Newbridge Park cats. As an experienced TNR person, I have always found that it's extremely difficult to relocate cats successfully. In my experience, when I've seen people do it, it's very often resulted in the death of the animal. They get disoriented, they don't know how to survive in a new location, they wind up starving, often they travel differently trying to find their way back when they get hit by cars. So, in my opinion, as an experienced TNR person, and also what would be considered the general way to handle it would be to allow the cats to remain where they are and to work with whoever is disgruntled to try to find a solution where everyone's happy, such as camouflaging them better, making sure that there's no food outside, putting up better shrubbery, that type of a thing. I think that this is a life lesson. What I find very often when I go into TNR spot is that neighbors are arguing and people are disgruntled. Some people like the cat, some people don't. And I've always found, really exclusively, that I was able to work with everyone so that once people know that you're fixing these cats and you're managing them, you're not adding more, they're going to die off by attrition. People they feel that that their needs have been tended to, and planting shrubbery, putting out certain chemicals that are safe in some situations, appease everyone. And I think that not only will we do a great disjustice to these animals if we do move them, but we're also going to be making a statement on a much greater level where we're letting people know that they can bully their way into pushing animals out of their environment. And I just don't think that that's going to accomplish anything in the long run, because there's going to be rippling effects to many other communities. So, and because there are so many people who are actively supporting the fact that these cats should stay, I almost feel that it's absurd that all of this is happening in response to one woman's complaints. I think that there's a different statement that we need to be making here, and a much more humane statement that we need to be making. That said, going back to the general statement of the importance of TNR and keeping people and animals coexisting successfully, I acknowledge that there is now a TNR effort on the part of the town, but we still are very far from having a complete, comprehensive TNR program. And I find that to be very unsettling. As you know, I've been working with the town as a volunteer in terms of trapping cats that the town is fixing. And every time I go to a new location, I'm finding that there's more than 25 cats at each one of these locations. We are really overwhelmed and overrun by the number of cats in our communities. And we need to have experienced, humane TNR trappers that are going out in good numbers and fixing these animals and creating a solution here. At this time of year, and particularly in response to the warm winter that we had, practically every female cat that I'm picking up, I'll finish in a minute, practically every cat that I'm picking up is pregnant. And for the shelter to not have any TNR this week because Stephen is on vacation and they consider themselves short-staffed and therefore they're losing the opportunity to fix these cats is ridiculous to me. We should be out there every day fixing as many cats as we possibly can so that we can get the situation under control and we can stop the number of animals that are coming into the shelter and costing the taxpayers a lot more money and often costing these cats and dogs their lives. I really would encourage you at this point to create a comprehensive TNR program where there is a lot of trappers. Having a couple of trappers come out from the town to do trapping is it's not even a spit in the bucket. I'm getting phone calls from people who tell me that they've called the shelter and asked the shelter for help and they can't get help for 6 to 8 months at their house. By the time you send somebody to fix 25 cats at someone's house, it will have easily made another 100 cats. It doesn't work the way that you're doing it right now, and the system needs to be changed. And I keep encouraging it, and I'm not really sure, Ms. Murray, at this point, who the person is that's really pulling the strings for the shelter, because it seems to me that you've hired a director and assistant director who are experienced and have capabilities of perhaps creating some positive changes, but yet you're still the one with the power and you're not creating those changes to happen.
It's not again. I'll disagree with that. A year ago, you were complaining that we didn't have a TNR. I'm glad to see that you've acknowledged that we do in fact now have a TNR program, and we work every single day to improve not only the TNR program, but every aspect and every service that we provide in the shelter. As you said, the numbers are overwhelming.
How many cats could you tell me you're fixing per week at this point?
I couldn't tell you that number.
Can anybody tell me that number?
We can get back to you on that.
Because it seems to me that with a vet who's doing TNR 4 days a week and doesn't have an ability to do more than 30 cats per day, at the very maximum, you would be doing 120 cats per week. And I don't believe at this point that you're even fulfilling those numbers. So that would say to me that if you're even coming anywhere close, 80, 100 of them, you're really accomplishing very, very little. You may be changing the individual lives of those animals, but you're not making a difference in terms of the town. And I think that we could be doing way better, and we should have already had a program that was a full-blown program at this point, and given that we don't, we should have one immediately. And it's easily remedied. There's a lot of people like myself that are very dedicated, that are very talented travelers, and we could be out there making a difference, but yet you're sending just a couple of your staff out there that can't do nearly what we can do.
No one's telling you not to.
No, I know you're not telling us not to, but what's funny is there's a lot of other people who can't afford to do it like I'm doing it, that are going out and spending 12 hours a day doing it, that are spending all of our own money doing it, and yet, you know, from the town's point of view, why isn't the effort and money coming from you?
Ms. Diamond, we run the largest shelter. We have more services than I dare say any other municipal shelter on Long Island. We do what we can. We have an excellent TNR. Is it going to absolutely solve the problem overnight? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not, Ms. Diamond. But you know, we can't. You know, there are lots of services we have to provide. TNR is not the only one.
TNR is the most important one, because without curbing the number of
dog
animals.
advocate would potentially argue.
I'm not saying it because I'm a cat advocate. I'm saying it because until you curb the number of animals that are being born, you're never going to be able to curb the number of animals that are coming into the shelter. And one final point, you may have a large shelter, but you have a shelter that's equal in size to Brookhaven, and yet you have a shelter that's 4 times the budget that's not operating nearly as successfully as Brookhaven and many others. So again, okay, so effectively, you fall off one, but where is the money going? If we can't be out there, we don't have a surgical suite, we don't have a veterinary staff, we're not able to do TNR in numbers much larger than we're doing them today, where is the money going?
We just, you know, we'll respect what you
Okay, well, I hope that's all right.